Welcome everybody to our weekly energy update, our Empath Weekly as I call it. This is your chance to look into the energies of the next week. If you feel that you are energetically sensitive, that you are an empath, then this is the right place here. Now, if you are watching this and you don't even know how you got here, let me explain these energy updates real quick. I'll read out collective energies. I mostly do this through the ongoing energy sessions that I have here every day with empaths and energetically sensitives from all over the world. And this isn't as precise as you think it is. It isn't like from then to then. It has nothing to do with astrology or anything related. It has something to do with how we as individuals subjectively translate what is coming in from the outside and what is triggering on the inside. So the reason why I do these energy updates is for you to have better ways to contextualize maybe what is happening to you right now, what happened to you last week, or what will happen to you next week. This is like a 2-3 week window, I'd say. And as the energies move on, those of you who've been following me for years, they know that there is a continuum that is shown, and that it's wonderful to share this. So the reason why I do this live here is to give you guys a platform to share how you're doing, where are you watching from, what you guys are going through, and also what helps you. We are going to look into the energies that are coming in here for us energetically sensitives this next week, July 21st till July 27th, that is week 30, and I called this energy update The Story We Create. And as always, for those of you who work with me directly in our Heart Warrior program or who support transCODES at Patreon, I also produce an energy tips video that goes more into detail. So why did I call this energy update The Story We Create? Well, this has something to do with things that we've talked about last week. Last week we've talked about karma, karmic family, things that are coming up from way back then. Sometimes even, things that we don't even know how we relate to them. So, how does what I go through correlate maybe with some of the things that my parents have gone through? How are some of the patterns that I see in my relationship, how are they related to my childhood? This last week really wasn't easy. If you are a lot of sensitive to, headaches and so forth, you may have had a migraine. You may have had sort of chronic autoimmune problems flare up, asthma or eczema or psoriasis. All right? Those are all symptoms of your energy signaling you that there are things going on here within yourself that need to come out, that need to come to an expression, that need to be illuminated. And the problem with karma, and I don't want to bore you with all this new age talk, you know this about me, I'm very pragmatic in this way of introducing energy work to you here and to the public, is that, we don't really know what our karma is, okay? We run maybe to healers, to psychics, and want to be told what our destiny is. And we're mixing things up here, because destiny is not the same as karma, guys. Understand this, your karma is more or less like your energetic signature, that is your setup. That is something that, whether you believe in this or not, you agree to, like a soul contract, before you were born, and you pick your parents and you pick your siblings and you pick the country and even your gender and all this as a means to show you the right path to undo some of the karma that you may have accumulated through past lives, or that you simply agreed to as your soul purpose, incarnating here into this person that you are. And there is a communication that takes place between your true self, which is basically receiving the information from your soul self and your ego self, the part of you that lives this 3D life and that has sort of this everyday awareness, and also, of course, that has experiences and judges and thinks about things, that makes decisions. So awareness is not the same as consciousness, guys. Awareness is, simply your ability to think about what is happening. But your consciousness comes from a deeper place within you, and I've used terms such as true self, authentic self, higher self, and soul self interchangeably sometimes. You've got to understand that when you first awaken to your true self, it's really hard to pinpoint whether this has something to do with your soul or not. It's really something that you feel as deep inner yearning, as deep inner nostalgia, sometimes also as a deep heaviness, sometimes also as a remembrance. And those of you who work on this, you begin to feel this as a knowingness. You begin to see that, oh, there is a part in me that knows where all this is going. You can call this your future self. But there is also a part in you that besides sort of the probability that you have to manifest certain things, also pulls you sideways sometimes, or pulls you into a whole new orbit, into a whole new realm of contextualizing your life, yourself, and your abilities with it. And so when I say the story we create, I am pointing at something that you can see here with the barometer that is still unread. But bear with me here for a second. I have good news for you in regards to the intensity levels, which is what the barometer measures. The story we create is basic part of what we identify with. This is a normal function of our mind, to say, okay, every time I do this, then this happens, all right? So we identify with parts of this, and we say to ourselves, okay, if I want this if I want to prevent this, or if I need to control this more, or, if I want to do better next time, then I have to do this or this. I have to avoid the pain, or I have to make sure that I get more out of it, or whatever it is, that, determines sort of the nature of our story, whether we see ourselves as a victim, or whether we see ourselves as a pushover, or, whether we think that the world owes us, or that we are unheard, or that we are unjustly treated, that we're unfairly treated here by life. It doesn't matter where we see ourselves. The story is what creates the belief in you. And the belief, your mindset, all right, that is constructed out of these beliefs, anticipations, assumptions, all kinds of things, all right. This is then what determines your alignment into your future, all right. So if you see yourself as a victim, obviously that creates a worldview, where you see other people as potentially hostile, or as potentially wanting to take advantage of you. And your energy is beginning to counteract this, to cope with this, by creating something that you could call, like psychologically, it'd be a protection mechanism, either projecting this onto others and assuming that that everybody's just out there to get you, or energetically it translates into you more or less expecting certain things to happen. And this is why these stories that we create, why they need to be illuminated, why we need to have a deeper look at them. I'm not saying that the suffering or the things that you experience in your life as negative are your fault. That's not where this is going. So this new age phrase, you manifest what you are, or whatever, this can actually create even more stress in you, because, it makes you feel like you are not good enough to create a better condition for yourself. This is not what this is going, all right? This is going a step deeper, guys. This is going into the integration of all of this, all right? For you to permanently change the outcome of your energetic output requires you to be absolutely aware of what you put in, or better say, what you put out into this world, okay? If your order form into the universe sees yourself as something that could potentially be dangerous, or or where you could be a pushover, where you could be a victim, and you see the world as hostile, the energy that you put out into this world already has that coded in. And this is what we do here when we teach people energy work and energy awareness. We show them these codes that keep replicating over and over without them fully being aware of it. So learning how to connect with these unseen aspects of ourselves, and also going beyond some of our identifications, the ego self or the false self that we have, is essential here. And this has nothing to do with your energetic sensitivity. People who are empaths and energetically sensitives, they have a blessing in disguise here. They may feel more at the exposure to certain things, but at the same time, really what it means is that your true self is trying really hard for you to see this, all right? So your soul is speaking to you through these inner messages, through these inner fragmentations that you can feel, through these inner conflicts that you feel. And therefore, the most sort of instrumental step into, becoming the creator of your true self story in your life, of really seeing yourself in this co-creatorship with your soul and the divine, is to understand what your darkness is. And let me define darkness here for you, because there's a lot of misconception here in the New Age and spiritual awakening community. Obviously, there are energies that are higher vibratory and lower vibratory that bring in a higher potential of manifesting pain and fear and anger and so forth. Higher vibratory energies have a higher potential of manifesting things that are life empowering, that are strengthening for you, and that are more fortunate and more joyful, more fulfilling, more abundant, more healing. But what most people don't understand is that these energies, they're around you at all times, and they're also within you, okay? And what actually manifests in your life depends on what you put your energy in, what you energize, what you pay attention to, all right? And if you dwell on fear, if you dwell on powerlessness, if you dwell on injustice, if you dwell on betrayal, well, then this is where you send your energies. This is what you put out in this world, all right? And then the world, in form of people and in form of circumstances and form of outer conditions, responds to you in the way that you will, no matter what it is that you experience, contextualize according to what you've aligned yourself to. And the vital part here, the instrumental part here that I mentioned, is to actually look into these darker energies that you put out in this world, even if your intentions are pure and if you really believe that what you want for your life is based on higher vibratory goals. In my experience as an energy healer and energy coach, guys, I have to tell you that most people's goals are not aligned to higher vibratory integrity and paradigms. They're based on fear, they're based on greed, they're based on desire, they're based on avoiding, they're based on hiding, they're based on anger, they're based on, a lot of things that we would call are more the darker energies. And why is that? This is now here where your karmic setup comes in. Obviously, if you've experienced a lot of negative things, if you've had severe trauma in your childhood, adverse childhood experiences, as we call them, and then all this is measurable, all right, then of course you have a higher propensity to not only re-experience or re-manifest these things, but also in seeing the world through this lens, all right? And this is where you need to have the courage to actually see which lens you are using. This is what I mean with embrace your inner darkness, embrace your inner schisms. A lot of us are fragmented. I am too. Everybody is who has had, adverse experiences. And even those of us who have had encounters with outer darker energies who undoubtedly exist as well. But it isn't about the fact that they're there or where they came from. It is how you handle them. It is how you manage them and how you decide to contextualize them, because this choice, how you decide to see what is happening to you and how you decide to handle them, how you integrate them, all right, this is what determines your future. And if you drop your sob story, if you drop the story that identifies you with your inner negativity and your inner darkness, aka disconnectedness from yourself, all right, this is where the schisms come from. When you're disconnected from your soul self, then it forms these fragments in your energy field. And those of you who have certain habits such as drug use and smoking weed and so forth, you increase this fragmentation through the substances that you put in. Just on a side note here, all right, so once you realize that you are the creator of your own story, all right, and that this is in your responsibility based on the choices that you align yourself to, then you also see that all this blaming on collective energies, on outer energies, on other people is really just a cop-out of your ego trying to hang on to your story. All right, so there's nothing wrong with having a story. I have a story too, but you've got to understand that you can rewrite your story. You've got to understand that you are in charge of this. There is a greater hologram, so to speak, that is already there, that exists in you, that pulls you into your future. But it is up to you how you experience that. And of course, how much you put in the way. So even though we understand, circumstances as sort of outer energies, all right, they're pretty much the same for all of us, just like weather conditions, just like collective energies. But the way we translate them and the way we manage them, the way we handle them, that's up to us. And this also and must include other people, the loved ones in your life, your family, and so forth, guys. When you work with karmic setup and understand, how everything that happened in the past, that you were more or less unaware of, okay, that got you where you're in this place of illumination. And yes, sometimes it sucks to go through seeing all this laid out in front of you, and you ask yourself, what's the point? But once you understand the liberation that can come with this, seeing that this is all part of the hand that was dealt to you at the beginning, all right, just to show you the right way, to show you your path. You have to go through adversities. I love, RPG role-playing games that have this sort of this heroic journey that we all have to go through in order to arrive at our true destiny. I've always been attracted to that, and part of that is my geeky nature here. I've been influenced by this to actually see that yes, there are some things that are predestined, especially the beginning part of our journey, but then it really depends on how we decide to walk our path. All right, and in that walking our path and understanding that it is our greater destiny that we are being pulled in, but that we are in charge of how we experience it, we'll then find all the guidance that we need to make the right changes, to make better choices. All right, so 2 questions here for you as energy tips for next week. Instead of looking at all the negativity and dwelling on how difficult things are, whether it be physically, emotionally, at work, with your family, and with your past, with your relationship, okay, sort of draw a line here, draw a bottom line and ask yourself, what have I learned here so far? I mean, and what are the lessons that keep repeating? All right, just take a mental note of that. And instead of asking yourself why, all right, and sending all your energy into this, like, oh, how you are not in charge, and how, you were being controlled by the dark forces, and how, you are powerless over this, and how you externalize your power through this, ask yourself, how can I do this better now? How can I take more charge? How can I own my part more? How can I discern better what's mine, what isn't mine? How can I know better, what I need to focus on? How? So my energy tip for you for next week, and to deal with the adversities that this continuing, hot week has for us, is to ask yourself how instead of why. Okay. The good news is it's going to get better. Okay. Not, in the larger scope here of 2 years, it's going to continue. This intensity, this will continue. But in about 10 days from now, so like by the beginning of August, you will feel a massive shift, that allows you to relax and to go into more joyful feeling and experiencing your life again, and all the trust in love as the answer will come back to you. So hang in there. It's a week and a half, okay, where we'll see and feel and sense this intensity. All right, we do at the end of every energy update our giveaway. I decided to change this up a bit this week, guys. I want to give away 2 individual sessions. I want to give away direct work with 2 of you. But I can't just give this away to someone who types in something on the fly. In the past, this hasn't really worked out that well, because some people are not taking this seriously. They don't understand that this is true healing work here. This is real work for me as well. This is something where I read out your energy, and where I'm trying to translate this for you so that you can make better choices. So I've decided to give away 2 tickets for the Inner Child Integration, which is also a session that we have as a group session, as a public session here this Saturday, away to those of you who go through the effort. And this has to do with this reflective question that I just asked. Who go through the effort to create a super short video sharing how transCODES, this is me, the work that I do here, and the energy work, and the energy updates, and the energy tips, and the articles that I write, all the work that I put out here, how this has helped you on your journey so far. I want to reward you with a personal energy session, a private energy session, and I picked the Inner Child Integration because this is like, according to the collective energies, what we need right now. And then a second Skype session where we talk about this, and where we develop a roadmap together for you, so that you know how you can better, how you can make better choices, or what you need to focus on. All right, guys, I don't think that the Facebook live worked today. At least I did not get any messages here, so sorry, I can't really talk to you guys. I see you guys on Instagram, and I want to thank you all. Let me get you just a little closer, and let me read what you wrote. Yes, deep fear in the solar plexus. That is something a lot of people experience. That is a third chakra response to this karmic powerlessness that comes in. Yes, and reminded you of your teenage years. This is something that a lot of people experienced here, especially during the karmic relationship clearing that we did 2 days ago. Oh, you're so glad you woke up. Yes, it's 2 a.m. for you in Australia. Thank you for coming, Julianne. Yeah, send me a few hearts. Guys, please share my videos. Obviously, the live stream doesn't always work out, but the edited version always comes. Understand, that I produce these energy updates for people like yourselves, who just need a little bit of contextualization help, but also for healers and active self-healers, who use this information for their clients or, for their friends and family. So please, you know, understand that the part of integrity is also to give back, you know, to where you're getting this info from. And I'm not asking for donations or anything. I'm asking for hearts. I'm asking for sharing, you know. I'm asking, you know, for letting other people know, you know, where you know, pull, you know, this truth that then resonates within you, that then helps you, you know, I get you, I'm getting your hearts, you know, to put out new things, more positive things, more empowering things out to others. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I see you next week. I am recording the energy tips for the Heart Warriors and the Patreon subscribers. And if you would like to know how to become an energy healer, remember the deadline is ticking. 1st of August is when we start our 5 to 6 month transCODES training program. And even if you've never done anything with energy work before, check it out. We have a program for you as well. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.